You are now tuned in to Let's Talk About Healing.
And for the version of me that got me here did its job. But this version of me has to evolve again in order to get to the next level.
We're so focused on the negative outcome. Change the narrative that's going on in your head instead of looking at what can go wrong. Obsess over what can go right.
That part.
Now here's your host, Yvonne Pierre.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Healing. I am your host, Yvonne Pierre, and I am joined by my guest co-host, April F. Draine. Today, we're talking about the pursuit of peace. Hello, April.
Hey, Yvonne.
Oh my God, the pursuit of peace. This is going to be another interesting conversation. And what better way to end the season than to end it with to talk about peace, especially in a time like now when there's so much chaos going on.
Yeah.
So much chaos that I had to take several breaks from social media just to detox. And I know you're going through a detox too. And detoxing is not just the body, but the mind and the spirit. It's important what we feed ourselves, not just our, with our mouths, but our eyes, how we feed through our ears.
Yeah.
It all contributes to how we feel. Because even the strongest person, it will get to you after a while. So it's not a matter of strength, but you just have to be mindful of what you're taking in from all angles.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. Why is peace important?
You already started saying it, with just so many distractions and things and events and everything's pulling at you and you're only one person. And sometimes we try to divide our one self up into 45 different things, just in different directions. And when you're pulled in so many different directions and have so many different distractions, your body will respond to it. Like, how they said there is a fight or flight thing that we have in our body based off of perceived threats outside. And with anxiety, that's one of the things that I learned early on. It was like I started having anxiety attacks. My first one was actually like in 2003. And I didn't know what it was, but it was years later that I started to have them even more, and I still didn't have the language for it. But I felt like my body was fighting something, even though in the moment it was like, I don't know why I feel like, okay, I feel like I need to run. I feel like I need to hide. And it took some time, and it took health diagnosis and other things. And I just kept seeing triggers. And eventually I was able to pinpoint it. And it was like, my body is at war. It's not at peace. It's constantly on the go. Even when my body is physically sitting still, mentally, my mind is racing. I'm still thinking, I'm still planning, I'm still ahead of myself. And there's scripture that says, we can be in the world, but not of it. I found myself in the world and I was of it, in the sense of not necessarily doing what the world was doing, but just trying to just keep up. And if everybody's doing it, and if this is all these events are going on, I can't say no. I can't say, because if they call me, they must. So it was some people pleasing going on. It was so many different things going on that I didn't recognize that I didn't have peace, because I was constantly, it was like that fear of missing out, FOMO. You're just constantly moving, constantly going, and they invited me, or they must like me, or I can't say no, or if I turn that down. And so all of that, you just, even as I'm talking, you can probably hear like, that's a lot. That's a lot. And your body can start to feel it and respond to something that isn't happening.
Yeah, because they don't know the difference.
It does not know the difference.
Yeah.
And so to answer the question why peace is important, we have to come, like, emotions, like they serve as information. It's like to inform you that, okay, this happened. Okay, I feel angry about that. It's information as to why. But sometimes we feel emotions. We feel anger, we feel sadness, we feel grief. Those are all things that are informative to us, to our mind, to our bodies. But then once we feel it, if we allow it to control us to the point that we can't even think straight. And that's what I found myself at a lot of points where it's like, I'm just so busy, I'm so consumed, I'm so distracted. The one thing I don't have is just a sense of calmness. Like, it's still going on, but I'm not letting it stress me out.
Yeah.
Yes, that's happening, and I can be okay saying no, knowing life will still go on. And if they still love me, if they really love me, they'll respect a boundary. So
Yeah.
peace came with boundaries. Peace came with knowing that I don't have to do any and everything. Peace is all of us knowing that, okay, the storm that's on the outside, the water that's on the outside of this boat, as long as it stays out there, this boat can float. But once I let what's out there get inside my boat, I'm sorry, I start using an analogy. But once I let the water that I'm supposed to float across, once I let it get inside of my boat, and now my boat is sinking. Okay, so do I have a leak somewhere? How did it get in here? That's the thing. We need to learn how to ride it, knowing that it's to, if we can address the emotions and address the distractions and see the lesson or whatever, we can have peace knowing that, okay, life is going to go on. I will be fine. I don't have to say yes to everything. Let me learn how to prioritize. But it's really my long-winded way of saying we can be in situations. We can be in the middle of a storm. We can be in the middle of the ocean and have all this water around us. But as long as as long as the water stays out there and my boat can float over it, I mean, it may take me a little time, but okay, but I'm floating. I'm gonna get there. Okay. And even like the way my cadence just tried to slow down, that's how I've had to mentally, and I had to hear my voice saying, April, slow down.
Yeah.
Just breathe. And I had to learn 4 words when I started having my anxiety attacks. The 4 words were, God, you're in control. That's something when I start to feel myself getting worked up and I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. There's so many things I have to just literally almost step outside of myself, like look at myself outside of myself and just say, you know what? I'm gonna leave that situation up to God. I'm giving you that. And I'm coming back over here. So God, you in control. I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's peace to me. God being in control. Me having to let go of some things and knowing that I can do the best that I can, but I can't control a situation. Some things are literally outside of our control. We can't make it rain. We can't make the sun shine. We can't make people act right. We can only control what we control. And everything else is outside of my control. And I have to be
Yeah.
okay and rest in knowing I've done my part. The rest of it, God, is up to you.
Yeah. And peace is everything. Peace, it affects everything, or I should say infects everything. And it's either gonna, without it, it can be infectious to your health, mental state, how you connect with others,
Yeah.
emotional well-being. Everything is affected by whether you have peace or not.
Yeah.
And people look for stability, and stability is, the basis of peace is stability. If you ask most people, what do they want in life? Most people would say, I just want to be happy. You can't have happiness without peace. So it's damaging without it. Just like you used the analogy of the boat, once you let what's going on around you get in,
Yeah. That's it.
the damage that it causes is critical that you pursue peace.
Yeah.
So with that said, what things do you prioritize when you strive for life balance, managing stress, and upholding your overall health?
At the beginning of this episode, you began with talking about like the detoxing and being off social media or letting some things go for a season or for a period. I started doing it right after Christmas because I wanted to use that time to focus on my kids. My oldest was home from college. She doesn't get to come home often since we've moved further away. So it was like I want to be completely focused on her. And yes, I know everybody's posting pictures of their Christmas and their families, and I could very well post pictures, but I really want to be present. Like,
Yeah.
I really want to take this time.
Yeah.
And so initially it was just a mental thing of, I'm just not going to be on social media. I'm just going to use this time to still take my pictures, my mama pictures with my babies and my husband and whatever
Yeah.
things we're doing. But then when the new year started, I was still in that vein. After she went back to school, it was I just still want to keep in this flow of, okay, I want clarity for this year. My new year really starts for me in November, right after my birthday. I consider that my new year.
Yeah.
So at the start of this year, it was like, okay, I want to keep going with this. Okay, let me just keep my eyes and my ears off certain things, because when you mention prioritizing, it's what am I listening to? What am I hearing? Like, what's coming through my ear gate? What's coming through my eye gate? And of course, I'm still trying to watch my health. So it's like I'm still watching what I'm eating and trying to be aware of that and communicating that to my husband and my kids. Like, hey, this is where I am. So not only am I trying to prioritize my time with my family or the people or the relationships that are important, I'm holding off on social media, because I don't know if we think about the fact that social media is really like inviting everybody in the world into your space. Like,
Yeah.
the minute you swipe that app and you open the app and you in your home, I mean, you have so many different people's thoughts and their situations, and you swiping, but your eyes and your spirit, you're seeing it all. Even when you're swiping it real quick, I know they say our attention span is kind of it's like almost less than 10 seconds or something. People will look at a post. That's how small or short our attention span is these days, because we're inundated with so much information everywhere. So it was kind of like whenever I feel myself getting stressed or stretched to the point where it's like it's too many things, I have to go and prioritize and look at my calendar. I have to look at what I have. 4 different people's calendars, my husband and my kids plus myself. So there are calendars everywhere. And it's like, okay, when I look and see how busy all of us are, the first thing I start to do is let me just eliminate the extra fluff. Any extra fluff that's not going to add or support or help contribute to me having the energy I need to be able to support them, to be able to manage what we have going on, to be able to manage everything that I'm responsible for on our home side, as far as finances and budget and grocery shopping and cooking and being the Uber for all the kids back and forth activities, all of that. So it's like, okay, whatever does not add to me to be able to continue to do that first, because my family, my relationship with God is my first 2 priorities. My health is most important. So I look at, if my top 3, 4 things, my core things are good, then okay, I have room to let the other things in. But when those top 3, 4 things are already filled, okay, everything else is just going to have to wait. And I just need to prioritize God. Okay, let me get some rest. I need to prioritize going to sleep, because when I do not rest, if I don't get my 7 hours, my body like literally feels it. Like, I've learned my body, I've recognized it, and I've had to also, again, communicate to my husband and my kids or those that I'm in close relationship with. If you love me and I tell you I really need my rest, I really need you to understand I'm saying it because I know what my health benefits from it. My spirit benefits from it. When I say I don't need to have certain foods around me because it's going to trigger me in this busy season. And when I'm real busy, I'm not thinking and I'll just grab anything. So when I say, please don't bring home those fudge stripe cookies, I really mean it. So it's like, it's me letting you know I've learned these things about me. In these next 2 weeks, looking at our calendars, we have a lot going on. And in order for us to take care of all those things, in order for me to support you, and you, with my son, he was home sick yesterday from school. I had to reprioritize to make sure I'm getting him taken care of to get back on his feet, and also making sure that I'm staying away from him because I'm about to go out of town tomorrow to see my dad and my family back in Memphis. So it's like, it's still, I'm going to take care of you, and I got to take care of myself.
Yeah.
So it's recognizing what things are contributing to me to keep myself going in a healthy way, to be able to still support the things that I value, that I prioritize. And I know I'm speaking to you, so I know you can attest to all of that. You know, you have to really look at what really is supporting and what's taking away. If it's not adding value in this season, it may be for a couple of weeks that I'm just off social media. But if my mind needs to be clear, if I need to be clear about the next step, clear about strategies, clear about how to work all these many things that's popped up. God, help me manage this. And in order for me to hear you clearly, I need to turn some other things off, so I'm not inundated with everybody's voices.
Yeah.
I need to hear you, God. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, and I'm interested even knowing for you, because you have so many things on your plate. How is it that you manage, or what is it that you do to help prioritize and make sure that you're striving to make sure you find that balance for yourself and all the stresses that life brings?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when you are, trying to accomplish things, or workaholic, whatever it is, but I would say for me, wanting to accomplish so many things, and school and business and family, and it's so many different things that we don't even realize that we juggle daily things. But what has helped me, initially I used to say, when I was younger, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And not realizing the damage that a lack of sleep was causing. And burning the wick from both ends, and trying to juggle all this different stuff and burning fumes from just sleeping an hour or sleeping a couple of hours and thinking, well, I can function, but not knowing the health damages that cause. And it also affects your mental health. You don't realize it because you on go. I used to always say that I am on beast mode. So I had to learn the hard way to prioritize meditation and prayer in the morning, getting up extra early for my me time, and meditating and praying and prioritizing getting some sleep. I wear a watch, one of those smart watches that tells you how much sleep you've gotten. And looking at it and like, oh my God, I only slept 3 hours. So now I'm more focused on making sure that I get at least 6-7 hours of sleep.
I hear you.
And now, because I wake up so early, I get sleepy very early. I understand why my grandmama used to doze off. just during the day, she used to take a nap. And if you wake up at 5 a.m, about 3-4 o'clock, I'm starting to get a little tired. So prioritizing my sleep, prioritizing boundaries, and we mentioned that earlier. It's very important that you set boundaries. And like you were a people pleaser, I was in a sense too, but I didn't see it that way. But I wanted people, I thought more about their comfort than my own. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But I had to realize, no, you got to prioritize. If you can't go, you just can't go. If it's a no, it's a no. And I'm really strong on that. And I had to manage my time, because that's another priority, was time management, because I was wearing myself too thin. That will burn you out too. Lack of sleep, being worn too thin, no boundaries, no foundation for prayer and meditation. I was burning out fast.
Okay.
The other two things was I had to learn to eat better, and I had to learn to exercise. It's not something that I enjoy doing, but I noticed that the only thing that really keeps my glucose under control is exercise. Eating right too, but exercise really keeps my body balanced. It affects your mental health.
Oh, definitely.
And I heard this guy say, I think he was on a podcast, and he was comparing a small person and somebody overweight. He said, if the overweight person is working out, they'll outlive the smaller person if they're not.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how critical working out is. Our muscles deteriorate without activity. And I didn't realize that until I got out the hospital, and I was like, oh my God, because I was kickboxing and doing all this stuff before my heart attack. Like the day before, I went to a kickboxing class, piloxing class, which is boxing and kickboxing, and Pilates. So I leave that class, have my heart attack the next day, and I have to learn how to walk again.
Wow.
My body laying in that bed, and I was asking them when I went to cardiac rehab, I was like, how did my body go from that?
Yeah.
And they were saying like the trauma to the heart, and then me laying there for so long, your body deteriorates from just laying around. And I said, oh my God.
Well, okay. So slow down on that part. I haven't heard you really go into depth, and of course go as far as you're comfortable going. But what did they mean? I mean, you went to the class, but they mentioned the stress of what?
They were talking about confused as to why I was so weak. The trauma to my heart, it affects your body. It's almost like, being unplugged, if that makes sense. So
that they were making a correlation with you working out to the heart attack, or working.
Yeah. Well, no. The exercise didn't do it. It was, I was already in heart failure and didn't know it, because heart failure is gradual. It's from blockage to the heart. So the exercise might have triggered it because it was very intensive, but I didn't know I was already in heart failure.
Okay, I got you. I was just trying. I'm like, wait, we were just saying the exercise is good, but then they said,
no. Exercise is good. Yeah. And the exercise is what strengthened my heart back, got my heart, what helped me, because in rehab, the main thing you're doing is they're trying to monitor your workouts, making sure you're getting the right intake, monitoring your weight, because your weight makes a difference. Yeah. Because too much weight is too much stress on your heart. And then I'm diabetic too. So they were monitoring my diabetes and my heart. But I had to realize there was a lot of stuff that I just didn't know. I just didn't know the damage. The basics. If you eat wrong, it causes harm to your body. But I didn't know the damage of a lack of sleep, the damage of having too much on my plate, the damage of not exercising on a regular basis. And I had started kickboxing, but that was like maybe a couple of months before, maybe 4 months. The doctor said I was having some issues with cholesterol. It was like a new thing she saw, but I had the heart attack before I can even get the medicine.
Okay, I got you.
But the exercise is probably what saved my life.
Wow. That's a story right there.
Because your heart is a muscle. Yeah. Your brain is a muscle. And the way you strengthen it is working out. And as far as the mind, reading, doing different things to strengthen the mind. You can't just not just reading articles on social media, but really exercising. And
what you read about 7 months. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. Go ahead.
Yeah, but audio books or educating yourself, you have to constantly educate yourself, and that helps with your brain. And it also minimizes you, because you have Alzheimer's and other stuff that are related to lack of exercise, lack of eating right. All these things come from what we ingest. A lot of the diseases and stuff come from, a poor liver, a poor kidney, and all this stuff anyway, I'm not going to get into all that.
No, but that's you're still connecting it, like, because peace or the lack of peace is when like our body is at dis-ease, which is disease, where disease comes from, so it's really still in the same vein when our bodies are at war because of what we're putting into it physically, what we're eating or what we're taking on, like you said, a lot of stress, or if your doctors told you certain things about your health that you need to watch and monitor, and you don't, then dis-ease comes up in our bodies. Our body isn't at ease, and then disease comes, and so it's still. I believe you're still in the same vein, though. I'm tracking with you.
Yeah, so we have to balance that, but we also going back to we have to balance what we're ingesting in our eyes and our ears.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Even if you don't have any major stress in your life, your body don't know the distress that you have when you see somebody fighting online, or when you see what's happening in Gaza, or when you see, not to be ignore it or not to, but you have to have some balance.
Right.
You know, I was telling somebody, a loved one, because they're constantly watching the news, constantly. But I was like, how do you offset that?
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Because if you're constantly taking in bad information, bad news, all the stuff that's going wrong, no wonder why you depressed. You're going to be depressed because your body don't know that this is not your stories.
Yeah.
These are not your situations. Your body is feeling all this stuff. And I heard somebody say, I can't remember what I was watching, but he said, you need to question why you're comfortable. They were addressing people being comfortable watching, they like, oh, I gotta de-stress. I'm a relax today. And then you're watching murder mysteries all day.
Yeah.
And somebody said, you need to really consider why you're comfortable watching stuff like that. You're constantly taking in trauma, and which is why I had to take a break from social media, because I'm like, I don't really watch the news. I watch it enough to know what's going on, but I also offset it by I'm listening to, I'm worshiping, I'm meditating, I'm praying, I'm constantly feeding myself good things, quotes, motivational speeches online or whatever. What works for me may not work for somebody else.
Yeah, in the end, you're saying what works for you, and we're hoping that the conversation just sparks something for other people to consider. So again, we ain't judging nobody, but it's your experience is similar to mine, so I can resonate with what you're saying. But
and finding things that I enjoy.
Yep.
Like prioritizing things that I enjoy, like doing the family activities and like scheduling stuff like that, and not just like, oh, well, maybe, I'll wait until Christmas. No, just like, what is it? I heard somebody say, what are the things that you would do if you was rich? Because often people say, oh, if I was rich, I'll do this, or I'll travel more, and I'll do this. No, you do it now.
Yeah.
Make a list of those things, and you may have to save up for it.
Right.
You may have to put aside a budget for it, but don't postpone your joy. Don't postpone your happiness. There was a lot of things I was like, oh, well, we don't have the money for that right now. Or, oh, we can't do that. Now I'm like, my mindset is different towards it now. Now it's like, okay, how can I make that happen?
Right. There you go.
How can I make that happen? How can I, how much is it going to take? Okay, it's going to take $500. Okay. Maybe I can set aside, and then plan for it this month, and I set aside X amount to build up to that.
It's intentionality. I mean, we say this, I think almost every episode, there is some kind of way we're mentioning intentionality in planning, or like I'm intentionally looking, like you're saying, I want to plan my joy. And if my joy come with a cost, okay, how much does it cost, and how much do I need to sacrifice and save? But it's you being intentional about it versus just, I'm just going to let life happen, however it happen. And I believe sometimes we as people, we can get comfortable and just, it's just ain't nothing else I can do. It just is what it is. And we settle, or we just get complacent. No, you have to be intentional about what you allow in your space.
What makes you happy?
And there you go. And what makes you happy. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And do those things, even if you have to do it alone. Don't, a lot of times people say, well, I'm a wait until, I don't have a man, or I don't have a a mate, or I don't have. So if you enjoy going to the movie, go to the movie.
Baby, listen, I'm a whole marriage.
Go to the movies. Like what you don't wait for somebody to take you. Just go.
Yep. Find a way.
Yeah. Just do what you enjoy. Make a list of things you enjoy and make it a priority.
Yeah.
To say, okay, once a week or once a month, I'm gonna do XYZ.
Yep.
If you enjoy music, if you enjoy playing an instrument, take a class. Like surround yourself, not just around the things you enjoy, but around the people that enjoy the things that you enjoy too.
Yep.
Things that, like support, not really a support group, but a group is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And if it ain't created, and find your tribe.
Come on.
And surround yourself around people that are in the happy space that you want to be. And we're not saying to be delusional, because there's a difference.
Oh yeah.
Life is hard enough. Life is tough. And there's things that we just have absolutely no control over. Like you said earlier, God is in control. He is in absolute control. And I learned that in ICU. That there's some things that I just don't have no control over. Now let me work on the things that I can and let him do his job on the things that he controls. And stress is the number one killer, is what causes strokes, heart attacks, and stuff that I didn't even realize was stressing me out. Me having too much on my plate was stressing me out. Because sometimes you think, oh, I'm not stressed about this. You have to really do an inventory of what is going on in your life. It was like, let me take this off my plate. Let me stop doing this.
Yep.
Let me stop doing that. What really, really matters to me? What is really important to me? What do I really care about? And don't mean overindulge in it.
Come on,
because you can overindulge in some stuff that you enjoy, and that'll be stress. Just think about, you enjoy certain foods. Eating a little bit of it is not bad, but it can cause some damage eating too much of most things. So it's really taking inventory of your life and realizing what's contributing to your happiness and what's contributing to your stress. And learning how to process. So thinking of that, what about triggers? Can you detect certain triggers and patterns that contribute to your stress? If so, what practices, April, do you do to handle it?
And it sounds simple, but when I'm like really busy, again, I mentioned like I'm managing my husband works in corporate. He travels a lot, but we still have to have family meetings so I can know when he's traveling, when he's in town, when he's not, when he needs to be to and from the airport. Sometimes he's on a meal plan and he's trying to keep watching over his health. So it's like, okay, are you back? Okay, you're on your meal plan this week. I need to plan, what am I buying for groceries this week? Okay, the kids, my son, he plays ball, but then sometimes it's AAU. My youngest, she's in band, and then she's in marching band, but then she's in photography club, and then my oldest, she's in college. And even though she's on her own, I still need to stay in connection with her. We still take care of like her rent. She's taking care of everything else, but it's certain things that she still needs as a college student. I have older parents who don't live in the same city as me. And so, I still want to make sure that I'm trying to go and visit them as often as I can, but that's 7-8 hour drive. All the things that whenever I find myself getting really busy and I haven't planned, and again, it's not like I'm micromanaging, but when you recognize that you are connected to a lot of things that are important to you, I'm called to be my husband's wife and my kid's mother and my parents' daughter. I have brothers. They take care of my parents while they're there, but I'm the oldest. It's still a certain weight of responsibility that I feel. But when I notice that I'm in seasons of extra busyness, when there's several, my husband's traveling and my son, his team is traveling, and my daughter, she's also having to be in different places. but it's just me because we don't have family here where we are to help as a village. I have to be really cognizant and protective of those times when I see, ooh, those 2 weeks is going to be super crazy. I've had to learn that I have to look ahead. I can't just let the whole month just come on like, what we doing tomorrow? I literally have had to learn, and again, it's not to be in control like a control freak. It's
it's to be organized.
Right. It's a way of stewarding what God's given me. He's given me a husband. He's given me children. He's given me parents. He's given me relationships that I value. And he's also given me health, and thankful he's helped restore my health. So it's like for me to steward my health, for me to steward myself well enough to be of service and support the people I love and the relationships that I desire to be in, and especially my relationship with God. I personally have to make sure that I have a calendar. I have to be able to, so when people ask me, hey girl, I can already tell them, girl, I can already tell you now, I won't be able to, but I can do this because I'm seeing on my calendar, this is already going on. So I had to learn, rather than letting life just happen and just, I can't figure it out. No, Lord, help me find a system. And so it was just trying different things to find out when you get busy, what happens. When I'm busy, I'm not planning on, okay, I need to actually take me some snacks with me. Being a diabetic, we both talk about that.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be running the whole day, running errands, dropping one kid off here, going to this meeting, okay, going to this volunteer thing, okay, doing this recording, speaking here. If I know that's what my day looks like, I, as a diabetic, I, as a person who's trying to watch my health and watch my mental and spiritual, emotional gait, okay, I need to probably pack me some stuff. So I packed my little Ziploc bag with my protein shake, with my little Atkins snack bars, and I probably have 3 snacks, my water, and it's like, it's a thing. And so even now my kids, I'll tell them the same thing. Hey, tomorrow, this is what your day is looking like. You probably need to make sure you go ahead and wash this, pack this, set this aside, put this by the door, because when it's time to go, we need to be ready to go. So I know my pattern of, if I'm busy, I can't wait till I'm in it and then try to figure out, oh, we get ready to pull out. Wait, where are we going? Wait.
Right.
I already thought of that and communicate that. So that's something that's helped me in recent years. The busier we've gotten, the older we've gotten, but I noticed how much better I felt afterwards versus, okay, I just got up and just ran out the door and I get to where I'm going. It's like, wait, I'm here and I forgot X, Y, and Z. And I forgot.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling.
Then I start to feel some kind of way, and I feel this, and all the feelings. And for me, I notice when more than two emotions of sadness or disappointment, if I get another emotion of like, now I'm pissed off, when all those emotions come because I didn't plan or I wasn't aware or I didn't, then that's when I'm open and susceptible to go off on people. So then so those are triggers. So now I'm triggered because now I'm mad and now I feel unprepared and now I feel like I'm looking whatever, or you didn't know and you didn't have, and I had it. I just didn't set it aside. And rather than go through all of that,
had I just planned,
again, this is just me knowing my particular triggers, because what led me to finding out about being a diabetic was up until then, I was doing everything. I didn't really plan it. It was just, okay, as everything popped up, I addressed it. If the kids, okay, Mama, I forgot this. I need to go. So I just went up and just went to the store. Or I forgot, everybody else's ill planning, or they didn't plan well. I just took it on. Well, let me just do it because they forgot it. Let me take it on. So I was addressing every little fire that came up. I'm just going, oh, I'm like a little fireman. Okay, there's a fire. Here's my water hose. There goes another fire. And I'm just running and running and running, and I'm not planning. I'm not communicating like, hey, this is the week where I got this, and this going on. What do you have going on with school? What do you have going on with whatever? Because if you need me to help support you, I need you to communicate it to me by this date and this time so that I can make sure that when I'm out, I'm not wasting gas. I'm not wasting time by going back and forth to the store, doing 4 or 5 stops when I could have did it all in one swoop. So up until then, it was like, so either way, I fueled myself, like you mentioned, like burning the wick from both ends. I literally would stay up late at night so I can give me some me time. But I'm staying up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning just to still have to turn around and be up at 6 to get the kids up to school, to go to work. And then I'm frustrated. But then I'm like, well, I'm trying to do this and I want to help this family member. I want to help support this program. I was saying yes to everything. that I ate everything to keep me fit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
ended up being like the detriment for me
Yeah.
because I said yes to everything and I wasn't resting. So I need to have some kind of energy of like, I'm not going to drink those monster drinks. That's not good for you. So this little strawberry shortcake with this strawberry ice cream, that is good for me. That candy corn, I was like, it wasn't math and the math was not math. But in my
Yeah.
illusion, I'm up here just saying, okay, I won't drink an energy drink, but I will indulge myself with several bits of sugar because I was on a high. My coworker literally used
Mm.
to laugh at me. She don't smoke. She don't drink. Don't you put no sweets in front of her? And it was like a joke. It was like
Mm.
if I was in a funk that day, you want some baby cakes? You girl, yeah. Oh, you got some? Thank you. And it would be just like a little energizer bunny, and then I would crash. Only for me to do what? Get some more sugar because I just got to say yes to everything. So I learned when I'm busy, when I don't plan, when I don't set boundaries, what we keep going back to,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't communicate what I can and cannot do. When I let people know I love you, but okay, I can do this, but you're asking me to drop what I'm doing because you forgot to do X, Y, and Z. That ain't my emergency. That's yours. I can help you on this time and this date when I have time, but I don't expect me to drop what I'm doing because you didn't plan. And it's not to be mean. It's for
Yeah.
to maintain a boundary and a standard for me. So that's a way that I can be able to keep some type of practice. So my practice is I have to plan. I'm
Yeah.
connected and I'm responsible and I'm held responsible for what God's given me, to whom much is given. A lot of these things I asked for and He's given me. So in order for me
Yeah.
to show God that I want to be a good steward of what you've given me with my time, with my health, with my family, with relationships, and even with God, okay, God, I want to be able to give you my best. So I have to set aside some quiet time. I tell my kids, I tell my husband, I'm good. I just need to just go up to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Buy anything. I just need to walk the aisle. I just need to push the basket and just pick up all the things so my mind can feel like it's creative. And I'm probably gonna leave like probably $7 worth of something. But that's just my little time to just walk and be with God.
Yeah.
Give me a little walk, a little exercise in, and be able to hear some little Christian music or whatever, and just pick up some stuff on sale or maybe not, or just sit over in a space where it's. I got my Christmas tree still up, but I turn it into my Valentine's tree because I like Valentine's Day and I still like Christmas lights. So it's what are the other
Yeah.
things to help feed me so that I
Yeah.
feel like I'm enjoying my life. I'm not just planning everything down to the detail. I like Legos. I still make sure I have my little payment plan. Look, I sure thank the Lord for them little payment plans where you can split your little payments over four payments versus one at a time. Once a month, I
Mm.
got little Legos that I go and find what's on sale. And I have a whole thing of I just build. That's my quiet time. Those are things planning. And if I want to buy it, okay, let me look at my funds. Can I
Yeah.
afford to do it this month? No, I'm not going to do it this month because I'm supporting a friend's baby shower or I'm going home, so I need extra money. All of those things are ways that I just have to plan it because I know when I get busy, any and everything, one little thing can throw me off, and it has. And I know what I feel like. I don't want that feeling. So I have to plan and I have to budget it and I have to communicate it to the
Mm.
people that I love to let you know, look, I promise you, I will be better and you will be better if you honor this boundary of mine. Because you can be better.
Mm.
I'll be happier. I won't be snappy. I won't be going off
Yeah.
and getting enough sleep. I won't be looking at you sideways and looking delusional if you allow me to get my sleep. See?
Yeah.
Oh,
Before I share the practices I do, I wanted to touch on the weight loss because you were saying that you went from, you know, indulging,
mm-hmm.
and you had to learn. That was one of the things you had to prioritize and plan, and you take your Atkins bars and
Yep.
all that stuff. So how much have you lost over the years?
My highest I was 258, and so I'm at 193. So
Mm.
I think that's 64 pounds over the
Wow.
years. So yeah, and
Wow.
it was a slow process, but it taught me a lot. And
So what contributed to the weight loss?
exercise, what you mentioned earlier, something I did not like, something I was not doing. But having to prioritize getting up early in the morning, something I did not like, and I am not an early morning person. But at the time that I found out, it was literally me trying to figure out all the things. So the first 3 months after finding out about the diagnosis, I think I lost like 25 pounds from the exercising and watching my carbs and learning how to read labels.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of got the trajectory started. And once I started to figure out how my body responded, and this is before the glucose monitors that you can wear. I was pricking myself, but now that we have the glucose monitors, that's been something to help me manage and maintain over the years.
Yeah.
But the weight came back several times. I have gained, not all of it, I gained probably about 30, 40 pounds of it back over the pandemic because my rhythms got off again. I got busy moving to a new city and being virtual with my kids, with like teaching them for 9 months in a new city. And so we're stuck in the house and they're not. So I did not focus on my health. My doctor had told me at that time I was doing so well that I could stop my medicine. So I stopped the medicine and I was not monitoring my blood pressure or my blood sugar. Yeah. And I was eating to be able to just keep myself going. Like, what is going on in this world? What is this COVID thing? How long is it going to be going on? And before I knew it, the weight had crept back up. And when I went back to the doctor to find a new doctor, they told me, when I saw my weight, I was like, wait, because I hadn't even been weighing myself. It was like I had gained 30 pounds without even realizing it over this time.
It can happen easy.
And it just slowed.
Easy to gain, hard to lose.
Yes. And it was just like, how did I get? And I realized, okay, I have been buying all those things that I used to eat. I was letting the little cakes come back in. And, we were able to start doing more of the Instacart stuff. So I wasn't going to the store. I'm just on my phone and just hitting stuff. Kids, what y'all want? Honey, what you want? And I'm just putting everything in this little virtual cart and just get delivered. So I'm not going out the house. I was stuck in the house. I could have went walking in the neighborhood. I didn't. So it was just before I knew it, the weight came back on. And so then I had to get on Trulicity for a while to help manage because my A1C had shot right back up to it. It was higher than what it was when I first found out I was diabetic. Wow, so even with the journey, it's literally that is a journey. And so that was me after my second time of losing weight and gaining it again and me realizing, okay, I really do have to get regimented. Because life is going to keep lifing.
Yeah. It has to be a lifestyle.
It has to be a lifestyle. And up to that point, if I can be honest.
And not just, and I've done that too. Yeah. I've done that too. Like, I get the weight off and then I look up and I'm like, I'm good. I can eat what I want now.
Yeah, and that's what I kept doing.
You have to, got it off, you got to continue.
That part.
Because
I was so focused on just my biggest goal was, when can I stop taking this medicine? When can I stop? That was my big goal because I was like, I'm too young. I feel like I'm too young. I was 33 when I was first found out being diabetic. So I'm like, I'm too young to be taking blood pressure medicine and stuff for blood sugar. And then later I found out I was vitamin D deficient and high cholesterol. I'm like, who life is this? Who body is this? So my biggest goal was, I just want to be off the medicine. That's going to be my testimony as a Christian, as a believer. He took, and it could very well still be my testimony, but he has had to show me after a second round and almost a third round of, okay, you keep getting it off, but you also keep letting it come back. So he had to show me it was some deeper things. So that's when I had to learn, I need to add counseling to this. So it wasn't until 2021 that I started therapy or going to counseling. And that helped me to be able to frame the way I view my health, the way I view, like you said, it being a lifestyle. And I settle within myself, God, if I never come off the medicine, but you allow me to live long and have a healthy life, I will stay on the medicine. If that's what it takes, because my goal isn't about, I want to get off the medicine. Let me do what I need to do on a daily basis in small steps, because the small things, they do add up. Yeah. Small things. So, and I've been able for the past 2 years to maintain my weight to where it is, where I would have already fluctuated again. So again, I know I appreciate you asking that, but it's to encourage other people out there as well. You and I both can attest to it. You already said it. you tend to celebrate. It's like, I earned this. Let me celebrate. Okay, it's one celebration meal, one cheat meal. We like to say, I got a cheat day or I got a cheat weekend. Now it's in like, okay, I can probably say, okay, this week based off of, I got a family get together. Like my dad's birthday is this weekend. I'm not going to turn up because I'm on a certain fast, but I know how to still be able to enjoy my dad and bring me the things along with me to help me be able to feel like I'm part of the celebration and I'm not being deprived and I'm still being good to myself because, hey, or I may lick a bit of icing on some icing, but then I know me. I know me.
Yeah, I had to learn too to focus on what I enjoy and what I can have versus focusing on what I can't have.
Right.
Anymore.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And look for alternatives, you know, if I have a craving for certain things. But then sometimes I do fall off the wagon, you know, and I stay there for about a couple of days. And then I have to remind myself to get back up and to focus on the goal and to make the goal a lifelong thing instead of go back. I can have what I want once I get down to this weight. And then you end up gaining not just that weight back, but more.
Talk about
so it. Yeah, it's about balance and having and mindset and completely changing how you eat.
Yeah.
Like losing the desire for certain things. But I want to share the things that I practice in regards to triggers. And I talked earlier about taking inventory. So for me, it's mindfulness and thinking about, you know, the situation, whatever the trigger is, I have to really think about, okay, why is this a trigger? Why is this getting to me the way it is? Whether it's something somebody say that's, because usually it's your loved ones that can trigger you in a certain way that strangers can't. So, you know, just realize, okay, why is that upsetting me? Or why am I holding on to that? Or why is that on repeat in my head? Why I need to let that go. But trying to figure out, okay, what my triggers are and why.
Yeah.
And if something trigger me, I have to be conscious of my breathing. Like I really do some breath exercising, which is a form of meditation. Well, that's the core of meditation, focusing on your breathing. I try to, in those moments, to take some time and breathe and just, you know, just focus on my breathing and not on the situation, but not just to dismiss the situation, but to gain an understanding of why it's triggering me. Why is this upsetting me? Because a lot of times, if it's somebody that you've known your whole life, you kind of know the things that they do that trigger you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes it's our expectations that, you know, because I was telling somebody some years ago, I said, your problem is the person that was upsetting them because they weren't being responsible. And I said, but you know, they're not a responsible person.
Yeah.
You know, they're not responsible. So why are you upset that they're being who they are? They're being themselves. That's who they are. They're irresponsible. So why are you getting mad every time they show you who they are? I have my strong days, or most of the days, you know, it may not faze me. Something somebody say or do may not bother me. But then there's those days where I didn't set my expectation that morning. Like I didn't do my morning ritual. I didn't pray. I didn't meditate. I didn't do the things that keep me sane.
Yeah.
So when they push those buttons, like you were saying about when you rush versus when you prepare and you plan.
Yeah.
Once you are frustrated or whatever, everything gets to you.
Yep.
Even though the person might not have meant what you thought they said, but you're so frustrated or whatever. So when I have those moments, I don't talk on the phone.
Yep.
I'm not around people if I can help it, because I know me, and I know I'm going to be annoyed. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
But then I also try to change my perspective of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even when people are toxic or whatever, I realize, oh, they've been through a lot in their life. This ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, if it's a loved one, they love me. They just don't know how to love me. So I'm quick to forgive and let it go. And then I have to also check myself and say, well, you don't pick up the phone either. You know what I mean? So I have to look at my contribution to the breakdown of certain relationships and realize that I can't put it all on them. And even if I can put it all on them, I'm not carrying that. Because life is too short. And this is part of peace. That don't mean that I'll just tolerate anything from them.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. That means that I'm going to consider them, give them some grace, and let them go on. And that don't mean we're going to be buddy again. You know, it just really depends on the situation, but learning to change my perspective of whatever happened or why people do the things that they do, instead of taking it so personal, so that way I can let it go and move on. Even growing up, and I was sexually abused as far back as I can remember.
Wow.
Even with finding forgiveness, I had to realize it's a sickness and I have to let this go, because I carried it for a long time. And even though it had happened and was over, I was still inflicting pain on myself because of it. And I had to realize that me holding on to that pain, it wasn't damaging them at all. I was damaging myself because of what other people had done. So I had to, even in that case, change my perspective. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life with a victim mentality. I couldn't, because I didn't want that to spew onto my kids.
With you mentioning, certain conversations or certain things that people have said over you found those to be like triggers, and then you had to sit and ask yourself, why is that triggering, or why, or even the point you just mentioned, like as far as the sexual abuse and learning how to forgive them. I just want to just hit back on that to just make sure I was hearing you. How are you, or how do you protect and manage or balance your personal peace, even though those experiences happen? How, I want to make sure I was hearing you. What is it that you do, or the practice that you have in place, knowing, or to kind of keep it separate where it still doesn't infiltrate you again, like come back into your system, come back into your spirit, and how are you protecting yourself from all of that?
Perspective.
Okay.
Considering who the people are and why they're doing it, their intention.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know their intention. Girl is busy outside this window. You hear me?
Yeah, I heard the sound.
But finding peace despite the chaos, protecting my peace, protecting my boundaries, and loving people from afar, and continuing to pray for them and wish the best for them.
Yeah.
But, and it ain't about cutting people off. Sometimes you have to realize that, okay, this person is really having a moment.
Yeah.
Or this person is going through something, or this person, whatever the case is, and really considering putting your, because I often will put myself in their shoes, but my husband will often say, Yvonne, that's not your job. That's not your assignment to figure it out for them. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take stuff for face value. But as far as the abuse, that stopped when I was like 10. I carried the weight of it.
The weight, yeah. I got
the pain, the confusion, the why me, the anger with God, because I was mad at God. Like, why didn't you protect me? I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I was a baby. How could you let that happen? I thought you were a loving God, you know, having to rebuild my relationship with God, rebuild my relationship with myself, and knowing who God is and knowing who I am has helped because I don't have anything to prove. So when someone says something against me, to me, I know who I am. And I know that your intentions are not good for you to keep bringing this to me, especially in certain moments of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So to bring it on back,
I asked that just because I was thinking you were mentioning perspective, but I was trying to make sure if there was something else, because I'm sure someone who's listening could very well benefit from hearing your story or can even relate. And so just want to make sure that I definitely went back and say, what?
Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I think that, you know, no matter, sometimes we take on the guilt of things that other people have done to us or said to us, and we take it on, and it becomes a major distraction from our own peace.
Yeah.
The main thing that we got to make sure is our heart is right.
Yeah.
Despite what other people have done, and it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. And a lot of the side effects, you don't know that the legs that it has taken on in different parts of your life and in your mind and in your spirit. And you have to really recondition and really uproot it.
Yeah.
And sometimes even when you pull something from the root, and if the vines from the root has grown into other areas, sometimes you pull the root up and there's still little stems, you know, that's in the ground, you know, and that's where mindfulness come in, and meditation and prayer and really, really doing the work is not going to go away on its own. It's just not. Yeah. You have to be prepared to get in the dirt and pull some things up and deal with it as you pull it up.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that by yourself, you have to seek a counselor or a therapist to help you get through it, because you can't let it fester, because it will kill you.
Yeah.
Literally. And a lot of times you're not taught growing up on how to deal with stress or how to deal with trauma, because the people around you didn't know how to deal with it.
That part. Yep.
Giving yourself some grace and loving on yourself, giving yourself the love that you wish you would have received.
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah.
And I don't like being in a position where anybody can trigger me. I don't like being triggered. I don't like that you have the power to trigger me. So that's why I'm so strong about, okay, why is this happening? Why is this? Now, how can I reverse this?
Yeah.
Where you won't trigger me like this again.
Yeah.
Because I don't like nobody having that kind of power.
Come on.
Over me.
Yep.
Just from some words. Just because you having a bad day, you gonna, you know. And let me just be clear, I'm not talking about my husband.
No, well, sometimes you got to make the disclaimer, but no, I wouldn't even think about that. But I hear you.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying whoever listening, you know,
I know the streets.
It's not, but and make sure that I'm not being a trigger for somebody. And if I do, because somebody have got upset over something I said or whatever, and I'll be like, well, what happened? What did I say? How did that offend you?
Yeah.
Or why did that offend you? That wasn't my intention. You know, and apologize.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and not just looking at what everybody else doing, but what are you doing? You know, and how do you contribute into other people's stress? I said, So, how do you handle overwhelming emotions, good or not so good, as they arise?
Learning, I guess, how my body responded with the sugar. When I used to have I need to get a sugar rush to keep my energy going. I would get on such a high that when the sugar wore off, I would crash just as low. I've learned without the sugar to just be able to enjoy or learn, or whether it's good or bad. I'm like, if I'm happy, you don't know I'm happy, and I'm gonna make sure I feel happy. And I'm also prepared that, okay, at any moment, because I've learned patterns with myself, how the enemy works with me, especially it usually happens after a big enjoyable time, a great time. And it happened to me actually over the holidays after Thanksgiving. Had a great time seeing so many family members, and it was just a great experience. And I was trying to take in all the feelings and the emotions, and it's like, oh, I'm enjoying it. And just as quick as we got on the road, it was a small miscommunication that happened on the road. And before I knew it, I could feel myself getting nauseous. And it was like, what is happening? And I literally got sick, and we had to pull over because I got nauseous all of a sudden because of the stress of this one something that came up that was miscommunication. So it was like, I've learned to enjoy the moments, enjoy all the good moments, take it in, take the pictures, all the things. And the practice that I have is, whether I'm in a good day, having a good day or bad day, my relationship with my communication with God is going to stay there.
Yeah.
Because I need him to give me clarity. I need him to give me strategy. I need him to give me discernment. I need for him to give me like awareness, because just as exciting as much as I need him when I'm on a high, I'm going to need him just as much when I'm on a low. So I've learned that I'm going to enjoy life. I'm not going to go through life like, oh, this is a good moment, but any moment now, any moment, something. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm also aware that life happens. Miscommunications and misunderstandings can happen at any moment. People can misconstrue one thing, and you thinking, we just had a good time. How did in less than 10 minutes it went from this to that? How we get here? So I've learned, okay, God, before I even start my day, I want every bit of joy that you're gonna send my way. And whatever comes that I was not expecting, that may very well throw me off, God, please give me some type of way to be grounded enough to, like you said, have perspective. Because if I quickly react in my emotions, that's going to trigger something else. So I've learned to enjoy the good moments, but I understand with a person who's dealt with anxiety, being overwhelmed is not something that's good for me. So I try to protect myself as much as I can, but it's like, I don't want to, it's kind of like how they say, you don't want to build a wall up to the point where you're protecting everybody on the outside, because what you're also doing is you're preventing something from coming inside.
Yeah.
I've learned, okay, there may be a barrier as far as a gate, like a fence, but there's a gate. And I'm going to allow God, you allow what needs to come in and out in that gate. I want love to come in. And I also, if I need to have some commotion to come, because God is not the author of confusion. But my husband said the other Sunday, he was like, he ain't the author of confusion, but he is the author of commotion. He will move some things sometimes, because sometimes I may need a little shaking up. Sometimes I might have got a little too complacent. Sometimes I may have indulged in my happiness too much, and I had too many of the sweets or whatever that bring me joy. Girl, hold on. Let me shake some stuff up.
Yeah.
Now you got this little headache. Oh, I don't know why your head hurt because your blood sugar and you dizzy. So I've learned again to kind of answer your question in a simple way. When the overwhelming good and overwhelming not so good moments come, I try, again, going back to what I said earlier, as much as I can, I try to protect my communication with God, plan my time with him. And Lord, because I'm a person who loves love. Like I told you, I got 2 Christmas trees still up that I done turned to Valentine. I love love. And I'm also aware that we are in a broken world. Everybody is always, so we're always colliding with other people's life and situation. Anytime I can go to the grocery store being just like the most, oh God, I feel so good. I may bump into somebody who's having the worst day, look at me and cuss me out and look me up and down and want to fight. Okay, that's my love, my good day colliding with somebody who ain't having a good day. So I don't know who I'm going to encounter. I don't know who I could very well turn around that same next aisle and it'd be the sweetest person ready with an encouraging word. I don't know. So because
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm going to encounter, I don't know what experience God is going to bring me that day. It's whatever comes, God, just let me be prepared as best as I can.
Yeah.
I'm not, God, let something come up. Let me, hopefully I've put something, I've invested something over time through prayer, like we said, in meditation, that, okay, if something triggering come up, okay, hopefully peace will come up and not a cuss word to come up. Because she's saved, but listen, she can still bring up a word or two and hurt
Yeah.
her feelings. So it's like, Lord, I know rather than me having them words stored up, God, let me, when I have my quiet time, let me take some stock, let me take some inventory, as you said, to put some more good stuff in here. So when, because it's coming.
Yeah.
So when something comes that I wasn't expecting, or a conversation that throws me off, or somebody get on my live, or somebody say something, or decide that this the day and this the moment they need to call and tell me about something I did 30 years ago, whatever the case may be, God,
Yeah.
please have something that you've put something in me, or I've taken the time that when they come up, I can sit in it.
Yeah.
And I cannot react immediately, because I've had to teach people and tell myself, okay, hold on, before you say anything else, give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm
Mm.
just trying to just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to make sure I heard what I want to make sure I'm hearing what I'm hearing correctly, because I don't want to respond with what I think I just heard. So I've learned to just even slow myself down, even with good stuff. If people give compliments and they be like, wait, did you just say, oh my goodness? It's like I'm trying to slow
Yeah.
process it versus just immediately reacting. I'm just, oh,
Yeah.
let me just, good or bad, let me just, okay, thank you for that. Or, you know what, I don't know if I heard that right. So I'm going to give you a chance to. And sometimes that my mom's like, you can be a little nice, nasty. And I'm like, well, no, that's my way at that moment to give them a chance to like probably reframe what they said. So if I say,
Yeah.
give me, okay, I just want to make sure, can you say that again? I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Because what
Yeah.
I heard, I don't know if I heard it right. So, wait, did I offend you? I think I feel offended, but I don't want to be offended. So I'm going to give you a chance to say it again. Maybe I didn't hear it right. And that's also giving me and them an opportunity to be like, wait, hold up. This could very well go left. So again, another way is me slowing down the way I immediately respond. If it's a happy thing, oh God, thank you. Or wait,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Or, oh, I don't want to say I heard what I heard, but did. So yeah, those are two ways when I feel the overwhelming is I make sure I'm praying as best as I can. Of course, I ain't praying to God every day, and He reminds me,
Yeah.
but as much as I can in my quiet time, I try to take advantage of the quiet time, because I may need to take 2 or 3 hours today because I got it. Because the next 3 or 4 days, I ain't gonna have that much time. So Lord, in these 2 or 3 hours, I want you to just pour into me and let me sit and get everything I need to be able to sustain me. And I've also learned to slow down my response, good or bad, when people come to me with stuff, so that I can make sure that it's landing in the proper place. Because I've got
Mm.
excited about stuff that I didn't need to get excited about, and I got mad about stuff I didn't need to get mad about. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Mm. So, as a kid and a teenager, I had a horrible temper. I had a really bad temper when I was younger. And as I got older, I was like, I don't like this feeling. I don't like that my emotions take over.
Mm,
I want to be in control of me
yeah,
and not, what somebody said or my emotions about this or my emotions about that. And I get so overwhelmed with it. I had a loved one that would take stress vitamins, not pills, vitamins.
there's such a
And
thing.
yeah,
Stress vitamins.
yes,
Oh, tell me something. Okay.
yes. This was like in the early 90s. So I was like, oh, well, before I go to work, let me try one because it's just vitamins. I was like, oh, that worked. I got to
Mm-hmm.
get me some stress vitamins
Mm-hmm.
because I was in school at the time and I had just had a baby and it was a lot going on. So I was like, okay, I got to find a way to deal with the stress, even though the stress vitamin helped because I didn't drink or smoke weed or anything. I had stopped by then.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I don't even want to rely on that.
Yeah.
I was like, God, show me how. So one of my fellow classmates, she had graduated. We had a function at the school. I was at a business college then. And she came up there She had a glow. She just looked so zen. And I pulled her to the side. I said, what did you do? And back then wasn't no internet.
Yeah.
She said, I do yoga and I meditate. And I was like, what is that? And how do I do it? So I started getting books and videotapes. I went to the library and looked it up. You know, that introduced me.
Wow. Yep. Just
to it.
Yeah.
And she had lost a lot of weight. And I was like, she said, yeah, doing yoga and meditating. And I said, well, sign me up. So, so I looked it up, you know, and I had all these tapes and stuff, but it took me a long time to really get into practicing it. And I wish I would have, but I didn't do it right away. One of the things that I practice that helps me when I'm feeling overwhelmed is to take time to think about it. Like really, really think about it. What can happen if I respond in a negative way to this? So me and Zion was in a grocery store. He had the buggy. He had one of them, the small buggies. And he was pushing it. And we were in the produce area. And this lady, I guess, wanted us to move. She was an older white lady, looked very mean. I'm thinking she's just finna walk past us. Zion had his hands on the cart and she rammed into the cart to the point where one of his hands got loose from the cart. And I was about to snatch her up. Like I was about to lay hands on her and mop the store with her. And when I was getting ready to walk toward her, I looked back at Zion and I just immediately calmed down.
Yeah.
In a split second, I thought this could be traumatizing for him. And what's going to happen to him?
Yeah.
He can't communicate where he live, who I am. They probably would have called my husband to come get him. But so I immediately turned to Zion and I talked to him. And I said, Zion, I can't even remember what I said, but my focus was to calm him down.
That part. Yep.
I lost focus of her.
Yep.
Because I was like, the most important thing right now is making sure he's okay.
Yep.
And making sure he realized that some people are like that, but it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, that's good that you were able to put the focus on him, because some people will react in the moment too. And it's like, okay, yes, she needs a response, but I'm also looking, again, chess move, 2 steps ahead. I can tell her about herself and my son is taking this in and I don't know what that's going to look like. And I don't know who else would interpret my response to her. Let me take care of him first. Even if it's
And I'm a black woman. She's a white woman. That could have ended really bad.
Yeah. You remember the scene from Color Purple with Steely? Well, not Steely, Sophia.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it's not to be funny. We all quote different scenes from that movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But when she's at the table after she's finally able to be at home with Celie and the rest of the family, and she just start laughing at the table, and then she looks at Celie and she says, "Don't, it ain't worth it, Miss Celie. Don't trade places with where I've been." Because in the moment, and she during the whole movie, she was shown and known to be a woman that was willing to fight, even if it was. She said, "I fought my daddy, I fought my brothers, and I never thought I had to fight my husband." But the scene that ends up getting her put in jail and is when there was a white lady who comes up to her and said, "Do you want to be my maid?" And she looked at the lady. She said, "Hell no." And the lady said, "What did you say?" And it was just her and the lady. And so she said it louder.
Hell no.
Yeah. Then that's when all the other people started coming over and getting in. And so then she could find herself. She could see herself getting really angry because she ended up punching one of the people and she was just screaming. It was like she was rightful in her space and in her moment to feel all the things. And also knowing the climate of that particular culture at the time with Black people and white people, it's like, okay, yes, you have a right to feel angry, but it's you against all of them. But she got so angry, she ended up hitting one of the people. And then it was like wait, She said, hell no. And then the other people coming up and she's screaming. And so she's telling people, get my kids out of here, get my children out of here, because she didn't want her kids to see it. But it was her emotions got the best of her.
Yeah.
And that's the scene that really hurt my heart.
And she was triggered.
Because she was triggered. And she was right to feel it. Anybody who sees that scene, you feel it. You feel the scene. And, but it's like, and you got your kids. And so now she in jail, and she still in the end up having to work for the lady anyway. And so it was like after she didn't, because of that moment, now she's at the table and she's finally back reunited with her family, but it's after her kids have gotten older. She doesn't know them anymore, like she said in one scene. And she's sitting at the table, and it's when Celia's about to pull a knife.
And her eyes almost shut.
Yeah. It's just like her spirit is broken, and it's like, okay, yes, I was right to feel what I felt, but was it worth what it cost me?
Right.
And it cost me time. It cost me time with my kids and my marriage and all these other things. So when she sees another woman about to put herself in a situation where, yes, Celia, you got the right to pull a knife on him and call him out, but he is not worth you stabbing him in front of all of us and these kids. And she tells her, don't trade places with where I've been. He ain't worth it. So even in that moment, just there's truth to that.
Yeah, it is.
What you were saying with your story, because your son, you're having to consider, yes, this woman needs whatever. She need to be addressed, but bigger than her.
And maybe she learned a lesson about me not responding, giving her the response that she wanted.
Yeah.
You know, most of the people that are in prison are there from emotion, from a lack of controlling their emotions over a situation. And it goes back to perspective.
Yeah.
You have to control your stress, your emotion, because it's not just can be damaging and trauma and take away your freedom, but there are innocent people in prison.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's critical for people to take time to figure out, how do I fix this? How do I take back me? How do I control me? Because regardless of what people say, regardless of what people do, you're the only person that you can control. And finding peace. And peace is not without chaos.
Yeah.
Peace is in the midst
Yep.
of the storm.
Yep.
It's in the midst of the stuff that's going on in your life, and learning to have peace anyway. There were people in different situations that were at peace, and you have those who are in situations that you think would bring peace that are not at peace.
Yep.
There are wealthy people who are committing suicide. People that have a lot to lose. Because wealth is not just material, it's a state of mind. You have people that have everything. They have love, they have family. They are not without anything, but they're miserable because they can't see it.
Yeah.
They have a lack of gratitude for what they have. Gratitude for me helps me stay at peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of that, what gives you peace?
My quiet time, of course, but I've learned to just see certain examples and certain trends of knowing, again, kind of like, I'm just going to keep it simple with what we kind of started off with the boat analogy earlier. And there's a scripture where Jesus is on the boat with his disciples, and they're in the middle of a storm, and he's at the bottom of the ship asleep. And they're on the top deck. And it's like storms all around them. And they're like trying to deal with the storm, and they're upset and everything. And then they come down and they mad at Jesus. How can you sleep, Master? Don't you care? Don't you care that we in the middle of this storm? Don't you care? And he simply got up and he spoke to the wind and he spoke to the wave. He just said, peace, be still. And he looked at them. He was like, don't you have faith in me? And I've heard that scripture so many different ways growing up, but now as an adult, I appreciate it because it was such a great example of if he on the boat with you,
Right.
if even if you going through it, rather than you questioning, don't you care? Okay, if he is with you, even though you may not like it, but if he's with you, rather than me getting mad and going off like, God, why you allow? Okay, but God, are you you're with me? And the question of how could you allow this? We said this, I believe you and I on another episode, accepting what God allows, or it was necessary. I think it was one of those phrases, but accepting what he allows, because if he's with me, I'm covered.
Yeah.
If he's with me, so I've learned to find peace in, okay, God, because I value my time with you, because I know I can't do life by myself or on my own or try to figure out all the things. I don't know how to be the best wife, the best mother that I can be for my husband in this season. We all change. They need different variations of me. And I want to be the best version that I need to be for them so that you can get the glory. I want to steward these things well. So because I want to keep my relationship with God in check, and as long as I got peace, or as long as I know I may not always get it right, but I do have a heart to please you. Okay. And as long as I want to please you in my efforts and how I go through my day, I may not always get it right, but God, as long as I know you in me or you with me, or as long as I know you own this boat, you probably, if I pray, God, whatever comes today, I pray that you allow me to be prepared. So if you bring a storm, then God, you allowed it to happen for a reason. So rather than me getting mad and going down on the bottom of the ship, Jesus, how you sleeping? Okay, if you sleeping through it, and then you can come up and you just speak one thing and it's over and done with as quick as it started, and you can be the one to quickly stop it. Okay, so it goes back to my four word statement. God, you in control. I ain't.
Yeah.
I can't control people. I can't control circumstances. I can only control my response. I can check my response. I can check my feelings. But at the end of it, okay, God, Jesus, you slept on the boat with all the other folks being upset and mad, but you were asleep. And they forgot the fact that, wait, he the one who can control it.
Yeah.
So I just have to remember, if he's with me, if he's somewhere near my boat, and as long as I don't allow all the outside people, outside noises, outside distractions get inside, because he's residing in me, and I can't have him trying to figure out, I'm trying to have him speak up, but I got all these other voices and stuff inundating me. No, let me make it clear. Let me move all that out the way. Okay, God, I don't want all the stuff that I'm seeing it, I feel it, I don't like my response. So God, I need you to help me. So what brings me peace is knowing he's on my boat. And even if I'm feeling the storm, even if I'm feeling it, he's on the boat with me. So God, what we doing? What's my responsibility and what's yours? Because sometimes I may take on some roles or carry some weight that ain't my responsibility. You were saying it earlier. Whose weight am I carrying? That ain't my carry. My shoulders weren't even built for that. Okay,
Right.
you gotta be clear. Okay, what part of this is you? What part of this is me? Because I'm partnering with you in this, but at the end of it, you in control. So that brings me peace, and I try to, if nothing else, get that image in my mind. The boat, two boats. Is the boat me on the boat, and I'm trying to make sure the outside stuff that stay out there, and I'm gonna ride across it, or my other visual is he on the boat.
Yeah.
Storm is out there. Okay, let me talk to him. What we doing? What I need to do? Do I need to be praying and give you what I need to do? I can't you. So yeah, knowing that he's on my boat and he's the one who's gonna help me ride over the stuff that's outside my boat. If I just keep my mind and my energy focused on him. So yeah.
So what it sounds like is walking by faith and not by sight.
Come on, because what I see, we see a lot of stuff, and that just with your physical
we see the storm.
Yeah.
For me, laying in hospital, I had the blessing to experience a peace beyond understanding. I can't even explain. It could have been because my blood pressure was low.
Whatever.
But I was so calm. And I think it's because and it goes back to perspective and gratitude. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a massive heart attack. Yes, all these things going wrong. Like blood transfusion after blood transfusion, and lungs collapse, coughing up blood. All these things are happening. But all I kept saying, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
And it was the peace of knowing that God is with me.
Yep.
He's in this room with me.
Mm.
Though I can't see him,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
he's holding my hand through this. My grandmother spirit is with me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a sense of peace that I cannot explain. I didn't know whether I was going to live or die. I didn't know that for a fact. But I knew regardless of what happened, he was with me.
Mm.
What gives me peace is every day that we wake up is another chance to get it right.
Yeah.
Loving on my kids, loving on my husband, loving on myself.
Yeah.
Just thanking God and not asking for nothing, but thanking him for everything he has done and everything that he will do, and realizing how far I've come instead of dwelling on how far I have to go. No matter how bad it is, things can always be worse. And to find something to be grateful for, to latch on to something to believe in, and something to love on. Well, another thing that brings me peace is my advocacy. Waking up and knowing that God is giving me breath for a purpose that has little to do with me. We're all vessels.
Good.
So
that's real good. I want to say this last thing before we finish. I've written down, we've probably heard this statement before, but it resonated for some reason. The difference between a thermostat and a thermometer.
Yeah.
And with the thermometer, it just tells you what the temperature is in the room. It doesn't do anything. It just says, this is what the temperature is. It's this cold, it's this hot. But the thermostat is the thing that regulates the temperature in the room. It's the thing that makes the small adjustments. If it's too cold and you want it warmer, this is what I need to do. I like that analogy of knowing the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer, because sometimes in life we can go around being the thermometer. Everybody else acting this way, so I'm gonna act the same way. That's what the room feel like. Cold, I'm gonna act cold because that's what they give and that's what I'm gonna give. Versus being the thermostat, where it's they may be doing it or the situation may look chaotic, but I don't have to be chaotic. I can just make one slight adjustment, one small adjustment to make it a little bit cooler. So if your adjustment is to get therapy, if your adjustment is to cut back on what you eat, if your adjustment is to be clear about your boundaries and your barriers, if your adjustment is, I need to be aware of my triggers, whatever the adjustment is, so that you're not always moved by the circumstances, you control the room. You control as best as you can within your own power, within your own might. You be the thermostat. You make the small adjustments. Don't be the thermometer going in and just tell everybody they mad. You may be mad, but let me make this one tweak.
Yeah.
I'm going to adjust to the situation. This is how I'm going to adjust to this chaos that's around me. I'm going to do it like you just finished mentioning. I'm going to change my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's something that they got going on in their life. So I wanted to make sure I say that.
Stop matching energy.
See?
That's what I get from that.
Yeah, you bring your own energy.
Right.
And let them adjust to you. But yeah, in regards to protecting our peace, pursuing peace, living a life of peace, it comes with you being able to make the small adjustments and the small tweaks as a thermostat for whatever space you in. You can very well be the one change that can change everything. So lean more into being more of the thermostat than being the thermometer in the room or the space that you're in, to be able to protect your peace as you pursue a life of peace. So yeah.
Well, amen to all that.
Amen, sister.
That was some good talking, April. No, I really enjoyed these conversations with you. Yeah, and I know people will have gotten something from it.
Yeah, from both of us. And I appreciate you allowing me the platform and sharing your space. So yeah, hopeful that it lands where it needs to land. One conversation, one thought, whatever it is, that hopefully it lands with somebody, that they're not by themselves, or that they can probably glean something from what we've said. So most definitely could walk away with something.
Yeah. Well, April, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for some good talking.
Good
for
talking.
for some great conversation.
Yeah.
This was awesome. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune in. I hope your new year is going well so far. And if it's not, how can you make it better? Like April said, set the tone, find your peace, and be the peace that you seek. Be in control of yourself instead of letting everything and everybody outside of you control you. Make this an amazing year. Things will and do happen, but be intentional about your peace. If you need to be in touch with me or April, our contact information is on the description of this episode. I hope that each and every episode is valuable to you. Remember, investing in your intentional healing and growth is a gift to yourself. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About Healing with Yvonne Pierre. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share.